Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having an incredible day. As always, support for the channel is always appreciated. Leaving a like, a comment, or subscribing helps out the channel more than you could begin to imagine. Welcome back to another news I missed, where I go over the tens and thousands of things that happened over the course of the last week that I missed. There's always a lot going on in this space, and without further ado, let's jump right into it. Per the latest announcement made by GameStop, the gaming giant has finally unveiled its NFT marketplace on Layer 2 scaling solution Immutable X. Immutable X, for some reason, seems to be one of the really big go-to places for NFT companies. There's a lot of Immutable X is on top of Ethereum, and there's a lot of companies who are choosing to use Immutable X. Vivi's one of them. There's also like the original DC cards that they had. There's also, I believe, on Immutable X. There's also another company who just announced that they were using Immutable X as well. Not to be confused with the Instagram is using Polygon news. And now we have news that GameStop is also going to be building on top of Immutable X as well. The GameStop NFT marketplace has finally gone live on Immutable X, a layer 2 scaling solution the video game giant announced on Monday. There's the tweet for it right there. And then there's like some cosmic man person standing inside of clouds. And yeah, that's also there. Users will now be able to explore the GameStop NFT marketplace in depth, starting with accessing games built on Immutable X, including Gods Unchained and Illuvium. I assume that's how you say that. The platform will further offer users the ability to explore digital NFT assets through Immutable X's zero gas fee minting and trading process. It says, not only will the integration unlock some of the biggest Web3 games in the world, which are currently being built on Immutable X, including Gods Unchained, Guild of Guardians, and Illuvium, it also allows for 100% gas fee and carbon neutral minting and trading on the GameStop NFT marketplace. The announcement later added. We had news, I believe it was the end of 2020, when the entire GameStop Bed Bath & Beyond meme stock thing was going on, that GameStop, one of their ways of trying to revive the company, was going to actually be through entering the Web3 space. That evolved into them creating like an NFT platform, which people were like, it's probably not going to happen. But lo and behold, here we are. Let's see if they actually pick up in usage or whatever as the market begins to eventually come back at some point. I think the largest platform still is OpenSea, and that's because, if for those of you, we'll move on after this, but for those of you who remember, at the end of 2020 and the beginning of 21, there was a really big issue with a lot of the other major platform, Binance NFT, Super Rare, and there was another one where they were only allowing like really rich, already hugely established artists to join their platform. And that's not how you make money. All those platforms kind of collapsed and no one's really using them. The one that was really open to everyone was OpenSea and Rarible. And Rarible, OpenSea kind of won the race there. So cool. They stuck to their words. They are apparently going to have tons of video games as well. NFT-based video games, blockchain, Immutable X. I mean, you cannot beat gas fee. Like you simply, any blockchain that has a transaction fee of less than 1 cent, you just can't beat it. All right. That's the GameStop NFT on Immutable X news. And yeah, let's move on. Also I expected this to be a lot more popular, and it wasn't. Cornucopias, right? A Cardano-focused play-to-earn game has announced the launch of the very first Binance Smart Chain to Cardano bridge in a recent tweet. The bridge was developed in partnership with Chainport, so many weird names, a permissionless crypto bridge that claims to offer custodial level security. Users are not able to seamlessly port their COPI, that is COPI tokens, from Binance's smart chain to Cardano. They are required to have a minimum of 5,000 COPI tokens in order to be able to conduct the transfer. I assume the COPI tokens are worth pennies then. That's usually one of the main restrictions. Input Output, a research and development company that focuses on Cardano, also contributed to developing the bridge solution as per the announcement. Just like bridges in the physical world, good job, guy. Blockchain bridges make it possible to connect different cryptocurrency ecosystems by facilitating communications between them. I said I thought this would have been larger news simply because anything Cardano gets the Cardano community riled up and borderline feverish. They love any type of Cardano news. Anytime that we get Cardano is working with or interacting with another blockchain, there's always movement in prices as well. Everyone kinds to go insane. Hearing that they have essentially, I don't know how, I mean, Binance Smart Chain is made by Binance, and Binance is the largest crypto exchange on the planet. So I had logically assumed news that Cardano had merged in a certain way with Binance Smart Chain to be able to do transfers or transactions between both of them would have been one of the most popular news stories that we had ever received. Nope, I saw this about in two different places. It could be because it's mainly kind of focused on a play-to-earn game, which are very, very popular. Some of them are a bit slimy. There are a couple of them out there. The idea, for those of you who don't know, because you may not be in that situation, a lot of play-to-earn games are very popular in a number of countries that are struggling, usually financially and or economically. And a lot of the citizens in these countries tend to flock to these games because you play a video game and you earn money from them. But a lot of times the fee structure usually ends up breaking down so that the people who need the money the most don't actually end up getting it. And there's like a hierarchy inside of it, and it's kind of weird. So hopefully this is a more ethical version of a play-to-earn game. But yeah, so apparently there is now a bridge between Cardano and the Binance Smart Chain, and one of the uses for it is a game called Cornucopias. Right, here's a tweet for it right here. It says, "We are happy to announce the first ever BSC to Cardano bridge is now live in partnership with Chainport." And they got a pretty photo of Cardano going into a Binance coin and Binance coin going into a Cardano. Fantastic. Yeah. Let's move on. Also in the news, $500 billion, that is $500 billion asset management giant Apollo Global Management is launching a new cryptocurrency custody service for its clients through a partnership with digital asset platform Anchorage Digital. This news is huge, but it's nothing new. We hear about this all the time. There seems to be a deep, dark desire by rich people to always find a new custody company or something along the lines. In 2017, 2018, we heard quite often that rich people were looking to get into crypto, but they required some kind of a, hyper level, big name security company or thing to be able to hold their crypto. This is when Fidelity jumped in and a bunch of other places as well began to say, hey, we can hold the crypto for you. But for some reason, there's still tons of new companies announcing the same exact venture thing all the time, and they're getting support and people are using them. It's kind of I wonder why, with like 15 already out there, there's only going to be so many things that actually cater to like the uber wealthy. So I just kind of assumed that the other 15 that we already have would have kind of, been the go-to places for it, but apparently you need 1,000 of these things in order to really appease rich people out there. According to a press release, Apollo is partnering with Anchorage to become one of the largest private investment firms to offer crypto custody services. Anchorage, founded in 2017, there's that year again, and valued at over $3 billion, says it expects to custody a significant portion of Apollo's digital asset portfolio. Diogo, that's Diego without an E with an O, Diogo Monica, that's a difficult name to say, Anchorage Digital co-founder and president, said Apollo is a leader in the alternatives industry. So their use of Anchorage's custody platform is incredibly validating, and we expect this collaboration can set the bar for how institutions work with regulated digital assets, banks like Anchorage, to provide custody and other services for their crypto holdings. Both being nimble and secure with digital asset portfolios doesn't have to be mutually exclusive, and we are confident that partnership will stop talking. They say such long-winded things, but we've gone over that before. As a company, you can't be like, yeah, we're new, we're just starting, we don't really know what we're doing, guys. There might be a chance you might lose your money. You guys got, so they have to make it seem as if they're as prestigious and pinky in the air as humanly possible. So yeah, another $500 billion asset manager, Apollo Global Management, is openly getting into the cryptocurrency custody space. There are tons of these things. They're all over the place. It happens all the time. Cool. We also know that banks are going to be custodying, but I think it's everyone just simply trying to have like a first mover advantage, i.e., crypto is expected to continue growing. Got it. But it's expected that within the next 8 years, we're going to see several billion people into crypto, as opposed to the roughly around 100 million people that we see right now. So if you can get in early and kind of make a name for yourself and be able to tell people, hey, we've been around for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years. Look at how strong we are. Look at how we've never lost any money. Therefore, do business with us. So cool. I was going to say hope it works out for them. They're already rich. They'll be fine. If this venture doesn't work out for them, they're still going to be 500 billionaires. Like that's... You know how much money $1 billion is, and then to be custodying 500 billion of it? That's the Apollo Global Management news. And yeah, let's move on. Also NBA megastar, I think it's Steph Curry, is apparently set to introduce his own version of the metaverse to the NBA's 650 million fans. That's a lot of people. He has filed for a curryverse. I'm not joking. It is CURRY verse. Trademark application on the 26th of October. If approved, the U.S.-based trademark application filed by SC30 Inc. will grant the four-time NBA champion exclusive rights for entertainment services, namely personal, it says it, and virtual metaversal appearances. I don't know what any of that is supposed to mean. According to the filing, the Curryverse will also provide online gaming services in the nature of virtual worlds, where players will be able to earn both fungible and non-fungible tokens. What is a fungible? Okay. Which will be able to be bought or sold at an online marketplace. The application also covers virtual clothing and goods, business management, and investment services. What? All of that is going to be in the Curryverse? And it hurts me to say that. Like, it actually, that word does not sound nice to the ears. Business management and investment services, charitable fundraising services, and a software as a service feature software platform for designing, promoting, selling, and exchanging NFTs, among others. While more specific details of the Curryverse haven't been announced, the NBA star's metaverse will likely garner a lot of attention given his 47 million person fan base on Instagram and 17 million followers on Twitter. The weird part for me is, years ago, there was a coin, I'm going to keep saying it, there was a coin that came out called Doggy Coin, now known as Dogecoin. I laughed myself to the top of a mountain because I was like, this coin's not going to go anywhere. And then you look at the current reality metaverse world that we're in, and it's like, oh, this coin has gone somewhere. So the original idea of the name to be fair to everyone out there, the name Bitcoin sounded very stupid to everyone. If you say Bitcoin enough times, you hear it again. You hear it like that. The name just doesn't sound right, but we're used to saying it all the time, and therefore, cool. I feel like he probably got wind of the fact that the NBA is probably going to try and make their own metaverse. We had news about that from a number of sports institutions before, that allegedly they were going to be trying to create their own metaverse in an effort to be like, one of them was like, hey, if you can't make it to the game and you don't want to watch it on your TV, you put on your headset and like, you're really there. You're in this world where you can see the game in real time. You're always in, a courtside seat. You're always in the front row. That would sell out immensely. So I assume this will be something along those lines. It's quite ambitious for a basketball player to offer business management and investment services, charitable services, software as a service, and other things on their platform. But listen, anything is possible. This world is so weird that this will probably end up taking off. And I mean, realistically, if he has 47 million people on Instagram, all it really takes for it to be successful is 1% of that. If he can have 4 million or even 2 million people on his metaverse running around and doing things, it's going to be a hit. That's the Steph Curry has filed a patent or a trademark application to have a curryverse. Had to have a sip of water. News, right? Let's move on. In one of the dumber news stories, you'll see why in a minute. DBS, a Singapore-based financial services business, is collaborating with Open Government Products, a Singapore government IT team, to establish a live test for the purpose or the issue of purposing bound money-based vouchers. Right, I'll get into that in 1 second. The vouchers are produced on a blockchain using tokenized Singapore dollars to enable real-world live transactions with particular merchants. This is a part of Project Orchid, a business initiative led by the Monetary Authority of Singapore to build the technical foundation and the Singapore dollar's programmability. PBM vouchers will be produced using the website Blockchain Technology. Is that supposed to be the website or simply blockchain technology? I don't know. And DBS issued DSGD with smart contract capabilities made possible by OGP. If this all sounds confusing, it is. As a result, issuers will be able to plan and manage the distribution and usage of vouchers for specific recipients. This means that when customers use digital vouchers, SMEs and the firms will retail shop fronts, which will be able to take advantage of rapid settlement, payments, and collections with their banks. Small firms that are short on time and resources will benefit from an increase in cash flow and time savings on administrative back-end activities. For those of you who didn't get it, Singapore is trying to create their own central bank digital currencies, but the way that they're doing it is making a digitized version of their fiat currency that will then be turned into digital vouchers that can then be used on another platform that will then be able to transfer the value to someone else. Right. So I read this, and this is why I said this is one of the dumbest things you're going to hear today. Can anyone tell me why? And I mean, it can be one word. It can even be 2 words if you want. It can even be 4 or 5 different words. The words I'm thinking of are like Bitcoin, Ethereum. You can even throw in Cardano. You can throw in an XRP. You can even throw in a Litecoin. You can even throw in the word tether. This new system is so convoluted that it's going to break. Every single time that there has been, and it's not even stable coin news, it's a central bank digital currency news. It's so ridiculous that you need the idea of crypto, you being able to send me Bitcoin, I send you Bitcoin. There are no intermediaries. It's just simply Bitcoin to Bitcoin. I can send you Tether. You send me Tether. It goes back and forth. There's no real friction, if you will, in sending it. Can you imagine every time you wanted to send crypto, you had to transfer your crypto into a voucher, and that voucher then got used on a smart contract to send to someone else who had to execute the actual contract, and then when it was released, they had to re-swap it back into the voucher and then back into the central bank digital currency? Why do they do this? Why do they make sure that things are always complicated? There's never an easy way to actually do anything. Like, imagine if we heard that central bank, it just does it because, and they won't do it. It has so much to do with them trying to figure out ways of protecting this old system that is completely broken and everyone knows is broken, that no one wants to use anymore. That's constantly causing like massive amounts of inflation, and people can't pay for things in the supermarket, can't pay for cars, can't pay for petrol, can't pay for their rent. And then you have nonsense like this. This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Even crazier, here's where it's going to get actually really insane. All these countries are trying to create their own systems. The idea of paper money, at least, is that, hey, I print this out and I put it onto a boat and I bring it overseas, and look, you have the paper that I also had. The issue with this is that they're making their own systems so just for themselves that any type of international trade is going to be absolutely horrendous, because you will have to run the other systems of the other countries as well to be able to execute all these other things. It's still going to take a long time for all these checks and balances to actually go through, as opposed to them, which they never will. It'll take years for them to actually admit that they should just be using crypto. And like I said, you don't even have to use a Bitcoin or an XRP or Litecoin, because I get it, prices are volatile. But why is Tether better than this? Why is Coinbase's stablecoin, and you know I don't like Coinbase, leagues ahead of anything that any country's doing right now? There was an article, I'm sure you can find it somewhere. It was talking about there's one Caribbean island in one country in, I believe, Africa, and there's one somewhere else, I think in Asia. It's not Singapore, there's somewhere else, who have started their central bank digital currency rollout. This has been going on for a year. No one's using it. No one. Like, no one in their countries are actually using it. People are just using apps like Cash App or anything else, or even using PayPal to send money. And no one's actually using their central bank digital currencies. Like, think of that. Think of all this hubbub, all this stuff we've been hearing for years about the implementation of these new systems and how they're going to take over and how governments are going to blah, 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 blah. And the ones that have already released, no one's using them. There was one about the central bank currency in China. And I keep seeing these websites talk about it as if it's like this great feat and they've done something amazing, which I know that these people who write these articles are also extremely corrupt. But then you read through it and it's like people are being told to use it, because if you use it, your credit score goes up. So there's all these airdrops happening to people and people being told, hey, you got some of the money, use it. But even then, people aren't really using it. Nobody wants to use it. People are fine using even the old system. Imagine someone handing you something and you'd rather step in diarrhea. Like, think about that. They'd rather use the old system than anything new that's being given to them because it's so bad. Anyway, that's the Singapore Open Government IT Government Service Team is trying to. This is garbage. It's just like, start over. Like, don't even like throw it in the trash and just use crypto. Like, I don't understand. Anyway, you're gonna love the next story. Let's move on. And also, yep, here we go. India Central Bank, the Reserve Bank of India, or the RBI, is launching its first digital rupee pilot, or has already launched it on the 1st of November, with the participation of 9 different banks. They said settlement and central bank money would reduce transaction costs by preempting the need for settlement guaranteed infrastructure, or for collateral to mitigate settlement risk. This was said by the central bank. I'm going to tell you a tale. Some of you may know this, a lot of you probably do not. The Reserve Bank of India, the Central Bank of India, back in 2017 began to, I'll use the word threaten, people within the cryptocurrency space within their country, announcing that they were going to ban crypto. You can find the article. I did not make it up. It was an actual thing. They were talking about that cryptocurrencies were becoming too big. They did not like them. They had to regulate them, and therefore they were going to be banning them within the country. It terrified markets. India was not a major player in the space. It was mainly South Korea and Japan. But for some reason, this mortified a lot of people, thinking that there would be 1 billion people in a country who would not have access to crypto. Prices began to fall. This news then turned around to, gotcha, just joking. We're not going to be banning it at all. Actually, what we're going to do is we're going to regulate it. And we're going to make crypto legal, and we're going to put this information inside of the next government, congressional, parliamentary meeting. And then it's going to be read out, and we're going to find crypto rules, laws, taxation, and stuff like that. You guys are going to have the regulation you need. Can you guess what happened during the next parliament meeting? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. There was no reading. There was no nothing. Nothing happened. And they said, oh my gosh, we totally forgot. Actually, you know what? We're thinking about banning it again. We don't like crypto. Crypto's absolutely terrible. It's really bad for the country. People who keep using it keep losing their money. We don't like it. It has to go away. During the same exact time, we were getting tons of news, us here on this channel, that allegedly what was happening was the government believed that there were millions of people who were not paying enough taxes. So they started getting rid of their larger paper notes, the bills, you know, the dollars, whatever they have, the rupees, and destroying them. Their idea is that people were using these instead of actually paying their taxes. It was a really weird, stupid, convoluted thing. And it came down to the fact that they were finding merchants around the country. Now hear this one. Merchants around the country who were making less than $100 a month. Let that number sink in. Less than $100 a month, who were using that money that they made, you know, selling stuff on the street or selling food, what have you, to actually support their families, as one logically would do. But the government believed that a portion of that should have still been paid to the government in the form of taxation. This is when the idea of a central bank digital currency began to pop up for India. And the idea is that they'd be able to keep track of all the money that was flowing through the system. So if you could get everyone on board to use a new digital currency, even the people who are buying and transacting in things outside, selling food, selling naan, what have you, whatever the street food might be, if all of it's digital, at the end of the year, you'd have a complete transaction and you would know for a fact that this person made $1,200 for the entire year and they're supposed to pay X amount of taxes. So, over the course of 2018, 2019, 2020, and 2021, we heard incessantly from the Indian government that they were going to be either banning crypto, re-allowing crypto, or creating a central bank digital currency. And during 2019 and the beginning of 2020, this was actually really crazy news because we kept on getting information that Binance and Coinbase and all these other websites were trying to move into India because they kept on getting news that regulation was coming. Every time there was a new parliamentary meeting, there was no regulation. Over and over, it kept on not happening. And this leads us to where we currently are right now. They have unsuccessfully, but they've been trying to hamper innovation or to make sure that no one in the country actually wants to use cryptocurrencies because they know that people will choose crypto or even, here we go again, Tether or Coinbase's dollar over using the actual rupee because their actual fiat currency, their pieces of paper are literal garbage. They have terrible economic policies. They have had them for a very long time. And what's the one thing that you don't want people to do when you are the creators of money and it's terrible money? You don't want them to use another system. This was part of the issue in 2017 because they saw that very quickly. And I think a large part of it really has to do with this like keeping people poor thing. I don't know if you're on the same page as me with that entire thing, but I see no reason to actually tell people that you were going to ban Bitcoin and Ethereum other than trying to get people not to get into the space to actually make money. It's one thing to stop ICOs. It's one thing to stop other companies who are just randomly appearing. But if you can actually validate and see that Bitcoin and Ethereum are decentralized enough and or aren't, I'm going to air quote here, scams, if you will, from a countryside view, why would you not give instantaneous laws around these things so that people can use them with certain restrictions as long as they pay taxes, et cetera, et cetera? Like, think of the cryptocurrency industry and how many people have made money from it. And I'm not talking about like becoming rich or wealthy. I mean, over the course of a year, being able to put $100 into a cryptocurrency, and then when the market goes kazoom and goes up, somebody made $15,000. $15,000, even for you listening to this right now, it may not seem like a lot of money, i.e. it's not millions, but think of what you could do with an extra $15,000 right now. Imagine what somebody in India could do with an extra $15,000. If you missed also a couple of years ago, this was also major news surrounding cryptocurrencies within Russia. The idea is that they were going to ban crypto. No, we're not going to ban it. We love it. We're going to ban crypto. No, we're not going to ban it. We love it. And then they started announcing all these things that they would only allow rich people to get into crypto. If you made less than X amount of money per year, you could only put in the equivalent of $3,000 per year into crypto. If they found out that you did any more, you would be arrested. Why would you have a law like that? Why would you find the need to punish people for making money? Such an enormous amount of corruption floating around. And anyway, yeah. So after all these years, it's been about 5 years at this point, they are finally testing their central bank digital currency. Keep this in mind always, because I'm sure some of you have friends who like to see, and you think they don't exist. There are tons of people out there who want to see you fail. This isn't like a, father-son talk patting you on the back. In life, you are going to find tons of people who are not going to be happy that you've made it or are making it. It's just going to be a thing. A lot of people I keep seeing, especially when I meet new people and they find out that I'm into crypto, always ask me, well, what's the point of, Bitcoin if the government can just make like a digital dollar? And you make sure to explain to them that these are still garbage. They are digitized versions of the same crap that they already have. These will still be inflationary. They won't have better economic policies. If anything, it's going to be worse. If you missed it a couple of years ago, I know there's a lot of time jumps here, but hang on. A couple of years ago, there were people who were talking, I believe it was in front of Congress in the United States. And one of the things that one of the congressional members was saying, or they were talking about, was they were afraid of Bitcoin. And they were talking about the potential implementation of a digital dollar and how that could be beneficial for the United States of America. One of the benefits, air quotes, if you didn't hear it, that they were talking about is that if there should be an economic disaster, if there should be a depression or a recession, the people who are in control of said digital dollar would essentially be able to hit a red button wherever they might be and stop transactions from happening. They'd be able to lock up bank accounts and essentially give you I'm not joking, send you a text message that says, hey, the economy's pretty messed up right now. We need to take $100 from your account to boost back up the economy. And you would have no hearsay in any of that. This is why so many people, I think, who get into crypto don't understand what crypto is or why it's so important. They're in it for the money. Got it. Cool. I'm here for the same exact thing. But when you talk about the longevity of this market and where we're going to be in another 20 years, we already see governments doing that in general, normally, even before we have central bank digital currencies, economies collapse and they freeze bank accounts and tell people, we need this. You can't take money out of I'm sorry, we need your money right now. When these central bank digital currencies have completely rolled out, it is only going to take one event, one instance of a mega country who's going through a recession, who has all their money frozen, even if it's just for 24 hours, and they check their bank accounts and everyone's money is lower because the government needed it to boost back up the economy, people will then realize why Bitcoin, why Ethereum, why cryptocurrencies are so important. So, and even now, to get back to the point, there's still no cryptocurrency regulation in India. They don't plan on it. They're trying to get people to not even want to be in the space. You're meant to have nothing but uncertainty. You're meant to be afraid of getting into the space and making money because you don't know how to pay taxes. What if they take all of it? What if you've done something illegal? What if you paid too little taxes? I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. Can someone help me? There's nothing on the law book. Okay, sure. I'll pay what I think I have to pay. 5 years later, you get audited for something that you didn't know that you were doing. They take more of your money. This is why the entire idea of the US still not having any type of crypto regulations is extremely fishy. Doesn't it seem weird that the largest economy on the entire planet still has no cryptocurrency regulations? Doesn't it seem a little weird that the largest regulator on the planet, the US SEC, in terms of the size and money of the US, still has not given any regulations on crypto? Doesn't that seem a little bit odd? You are meant to get in trouble for all of these things. There was someone years ago, they were talking about a reform on US taxes. If you've never seen a US tax form, count yourself lucky. It looks insane. You can find one online. The entire point of it is it's very convoluted, i.e., I used to try and do my own taxes. Now I handed it off to someone because it's done on purpose. You're meant to continue passing money on. The idea is, let's say you made $50,000 that year, random number. You would have to enter that on line 3 after you've entered your name. And then you look down, it says if you entered something in line 3, you have to enter something on line 27. You add what's on line number 27 and you multiply it by 0.125, and then you have to go to number on line 103. You have to divide that by 3, and you have to multiply that by another number on number 58. If you made more than $51,000, you have to subtract a 40 something from it, and you have to go down to number. It's really like this. It's done this way on purpose. And someone was talking about it. This was years ago. They were like, we can make this so much simpler. The entire idea is, especially online, you enter how much money you make. You enter what kind of job you do. You enter how many hours you've worked. If you have any dependents, do you have any kids? Are you supporting your partner? Are you so and so, blah, 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 blah. Do you have a mortgage? You click yes. You click all these things, and then it comes up with a number. If you live in the States and you've ever looked at your own taxes, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's done on purpose. The system is made for us to fail. We are not meant to make it. Even making money, the idea of us making money in crypto, especially fast, is not supposed to happen. This is why there's been so much pushback. Doesn't it seem odd that after all these years, there's still no proper regulation? It's done on purpose. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know if I'm supposed to clap for this news or if it's supposed to be absolutely amazing. There's so much corruption in the world, and I'm not going to like stand by and be like, oh, that's great. I'm so happy that they have this. This is only going to force people into worse economic situations. And I'm telling you, it's going to happen. There's going to be a situation where people are pushed into a corner. Their accounts are locked. Everyone on their phone, you cannot access your money, and people are not going to be too happy. That's the Indian Central Bank has launched their digital currency pilot. Let's move on. Right. I do hope that you've all enjoyed. I do hope that you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you to everyone who left a like, comment, subscribed, or is still here listening to me ranting about how the world should be so much better. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.